All right, hello, beautiful people. We're back with part 4, how I maintain my peace in front of the children. All right, so it's not easy. It's sometimes very difficult being around a narcissist and keeping the peace in front of children. It's not easy, but I have to, and I make it a purpose, or I try to maintain my focus whenever he comes around. I uphold my boundaries. One of the things that he did when we were together, they just like to run over your boundaries. Narcissists do not like boundaries. They hate boundaries. So I make sure I maintain my boundaries, especially whenever he pops up and decides he wants to, be a parent. With me being a primary parent, and me maintaining that calm, peaceful environment for them, I remind myself that they're always watching me. So I can't teach them peace and then, model chaos. I have to be a do as I do and say person. I can't be a do as I say and not as I do. So when he comes around with, the yelling. So when he comes around with all the yelling and the dramatics and the aggression and the combativeness and all those things that narcissists like to do, I have to keep in mind that I have to take a deep breath. I have to pause before I speak. I have to make sure that I keep our conversation short and straight and simple and to the point. I cannot let him sidetrack me because he's really good at doing that, trying to sidetrack you. He's really good at trying to, transfer emotions, especially with him, not agreeing with my parenting style. He does it a lot when it comes to them. He has a lot to say about, what they're eating, what they're not eating. Because like I said, it's not even really about the children. It's really about him trying to maintain some type of control. When he decided to dip out on us 2 years ago, when he decided to leave and he made me a single parent, I think I'm leaving out the part that I'm also a 100% disabled veteran. So he basically left me as a disabled veteran to be in charge and responsible of 2 small children, because this was almost 2 years ago. My baby was 7 months, I believe. Yeah, he was 7 months. 7 months when he decided to just disappear and not say anything. He didn't say anything to us for like 2 weeks straight. And then every time he popped back up, and he would start trying to start an argument or a fight or whatever you want to call it every time he popped back up. But I said him leaving like he did, that was a sign and a blessing in disguise. But I know that I have to maintain peace whenever he comes around, and definitely in front of my children. Make sure I don't say anything negative about him, and, make sure that we're not going back and forth with each other. So that causes me to have to bite my tongue a lot. But one of the things that I do is I will listen to music. A lot of times I read books. I make videos. I do different things to keep myself calm and keep myself peaceful. But see, these are things I do anyway when he's not around. Like when I wake up in the morning, a lot of times, I'll turn some music on, and I wake my children up like that. I wake them up. They hear music. A lot of times the music will wake them up. So these are things I do anyway around the house when he's not around. And, with me being the primary parent, the one that's with them 24/7, 365, I have to model what the type of, things I want them to do. I have to model that for them. I can't just say it. I have to do it too, because they're watching and they're listening. So even when he comes around with all the dramatics and all that, trying to start arguments and stuff, trying to trigger me, I still can't react because they're paying attention, they're listening, and they have now started telling him that, we don't talk to each other like that. There's a better way we could say that, even with him disagreeing with how I parent them, they'll tell him that, we don't hit. We don't do that here. Excuse me. So I have to learn how to walk away too, because I'm teaching them how to regulate their emotions. And it's okay to have your feelings, but it's not okay to yell at people. It's not okay to hurt people. Just because you're upset, it's not okay to hurt people just because you're upset. You still have to think about, how the other person feels. And that is one thing that narcissists do not do. At least this one that I'm co-parenting with, he does not think about other people and how they feel before he does or says anything. He says whatever he wants to say and does whatever he wants to do. A lot of times he'll say things, little comments underneath his breath. I call him, he'll give you like a backhanded compliment, you know, and he'll ask you for a suggestion or something, and then he'll basically try to pick apart and criticize everything that you say, everything that you're doing. And my thing is, I have to maintain a lifestyle for myself and my 2 children that's best for them and best for me. I don't need you coming in, you know, trying to cause chaos just when you pop in, because you're leaving and you're going back to wherever you stay. And then I have to repair everything that you tore up after you leave. When you come through like a tornado, you know, trying to change everything. And it doesn't even make sense, the things that you're trying to change. So I don't argue. I don't yell back. I have to show my boys what emotional safety looks like. And I also have to show them what it looks like whenever I'm being treated right too. So I have to speak up for myself. You know, I can't shut down and I can't blow up either, because that's not teaching them anything. So boundaries over battles. Remember that, boundaries over battles. Okay, a lot of times it's best to just not say anything, even though I want to, even though he's wrong. A lot of times I won't say anything until after either we'll step outside and have a conversation, or we'll go in the bathroom and close the door or something. Also, peace is your power. If you're dealing with a narcissist and you have to co-parent with them, peace is your power. Do whatever it takes to give yourself peace. Don't let them take your peace away from you when they come around, whether you have to talk to them on the phone or whether they're around and you have to be around them in person. Don't let them take that power. Don't let them take your peace away from you. Also remember that your children are always watching you. They're watching and they're listening. And this is their childhood. You want them to have positive memories. You know, you want them to remember positive conversations that you guys had. So I have to change the subject a lot. And now my oldest is start saying that, yeah, we need to change the subject. You know, when he feels like something is getting a little bit too heated or a little bit too aggressive, he says it now. Yeah, we need to change the subject. Let's talk about something else. Because like I'm saying, I want them to know and understand how they're supposed to treat each other, treat themselves, treat each other, and definitely how to treat females. So I have to be an example to them as well. You know, I can't let their dad or anybody, you know, just talk to me and treat me any kind of way, because they're going to think it's okay. So I have to model what I want them to do, and I have to say what I want them to say and act the way I want them to act. And I also have to show them what it looks like whenever you are triggered, you know, how to navigate those emotions even when you are triggered. I have to be an example to them, because they're looking at me, you know. Although they're looking at him, you know, but of course he's not thinking about that, you know, because if he was thinking about that, then he wouldn't have disappeared like he did, and I wouldn't be a single parent. So although it can be exhausting, you know, having to be the one that does all the thinking and, you know, all the planning and, you know, all the making sure that everything is okay, it's going to be well worth it. You know, if there's a verse that says, do not grow weary in your well-doing. There is a end goal in mind, and the end goal is that they're going to turn into some great men, some great adults, and they're going to be emotionally regulated. You know, I don't want them to shut down, and I don't want them to blow up either. You know, I want them to be able to know how to deal with their emotions, and by him coming around, that is one of my concerns, you know. But the bigger picture is that they do need a father. They do need a male figure, you know, to be in their lives. So whether or not he's the right one or he does the right things, I still have to maintain peace in front of them. And I still have to, you know, do the best I can for them. So thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. Thank you for the people who have commented. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you're learning some things from me as I can learn from you. And if you have any suggestions, you can put those in the comments as well. So stay tuned for our next part. See you guys later.